Thank you, Tiffany. I'm also leading out in Sabbath school lessons, so this will be 2 parts here. Mary Jo, can you help me get these out? Let me get these out. Help them too, yeah. Yes,
Ilan?
Dalawa. This morning, we're going to be sharing some blessings that we have, and we have some Bible verses. I asked Mary Jo. I like saying my wife. I haven't said that for 8-9 years. So it sounds good. I have my wife to go to everyone. Please choose 2 verses. Okay. And then choose which one you would like to read and share how God's blessing has been, have given you, how God has given you the blessings. Come on, Debbie, we're getting Sabbath school. Okay. Okay. Everyone got their verses? Okay. Who would like to start, Gina? Yeah, come on here. Come on in here. No, and then how you can have how God has answered a prayer. Yeah, come on over here. You got to be where the videotape is. Yeah, I'm sending this to a friend. Okay.
2 Corinthians 1:3-11. Blessed be God, even the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and the God of all comfort.
Okay. And if you want to go ahead and read the second verse too.
James 5:16. Confess your faults one to another and pray one for another that ye may be healed. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much.
Okay, and how does that, how is God, can you share an experience where God has answered your prayer or maybe has not answered prayers? Because we know that God answers prayers in 3 ways: yes, no, and not yet. Or maybe sometimes God has given you an answer and you didn't even know you were praying for it.
Well, in that case, this was several years ago, but I was working as the Director of Education at Sylvan Learning Center, and I was actually being looked at by corporate Sylvan. And I was given a heads up that someone from corporate was going to come down to Virginia Beach to interview me for a corporate position. And within the same week, I got an offer to teach at Tidewater. And I didn't even apply.
Oh, really? And was that hard to choose?
It actually, I mean, I knew what I was supposed to do, but the corporate position was very, very tempting. It really was. I mean, they offered me a lot of extra fun, nice things. But I prayed about it, and I talked to, David and my mom. And so I took the teaching position over the corporate position.
Okay, well, what would have happened? What do you think would have happened if you had chosen the corporate? We know what the blessings that you have received, the blessings that you have provided, and the spiritual growth that you have with TAA. That is a given.
Right. If I had taken the corporate position, of course I would have gotten more bonuses and travel expenses and paid vacations. But I would have missed out on, like you said, the spiritual blessings and just the blessings of being with my kids and being back in the classroom.
Plus, God knew you would not need all that money.
He must have.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you very much. Folks who have been coming in, I'm Marichus out here to give you a couple of Bible verses, and we'd like you to come here and share how God, read your verse. You can read either one or both, and how God has given you blessings. So Sharon asks, you go over here, please. Just read one, and how God has blessed you.
1 John 3:22, and whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight.
Okay. And has God has answered your prayer? Yes. And do you have a short example of what you give? Many, right?
Many, too many.
And I think, isn't that great that God has given you so many blessings that you just can't think of just one? But you've been a blessing to us at church. And I know that your sons and your beautiful daughters-in-law have been a blessing to you. And here too. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Do we have another one? Debbie? Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, Danny? It was Danny's daughter who played special music.
Happy Sabbath. Good morning to all. Jeremiah 33 verse 3. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, to show thee great and mighty things, which thou knowest not. This is my experience when I joined the Navy. My first tour, we went to Africa, but while on underway, we had a replenishment at sea. And when we were ready to take off from the other ship, because we already had the fuel, the bigger ship made the wrong turn and hit us directly on the side, the port side, and we tilted almost 200 degrees. We were there, and I prayed so hard because there were a lot of crews with us. We were like about 70 at the back trying to refuel the ship, and if this happens and this submerged, we'll all die. But I didn't have that kind of doubt that Christ was with us. And surely, when the captain said, lower the mast, and the lieutenant did the report instruction to the other members of the crew, they took it off and the ship just went back to balance itself. And we were all saved.
When did that happen?
In the 1990s.
Wow, okay.
And the other one. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer. And while they are speaking, I will hear. Being a young man before, at the age of 19, 20, 21, I've been looking for a future partner in life. And I ended up having a relationship with a non-Adventist. But every time I focus on, setting money aside and sending her for our future, and every time I go home, there was always an event that it won't happen. So I asked Christ in prayer to show me the right woman. And while I was in a plane going to Hawaii for my new duty station, it was right there that God showed me that I'll marry the right person in Hawaii.
And what's her name?
And surely, Fraulein, it took us 2 weeks. Very short engagement or courtship, 2 weeks. Right after that, we got married in Hawaii.
And how long have you been married?
Going 19 years.
Okay, well, congratulations. Thank you. Debbie?
Morning, happy Sabbath, Mrs. DL.
Just read
The lady was just sitting here, what happened to her?
Sharon.
Sharon. That blends into what I want to say, short and sweet. Sharon and the people here, that is just so coincidental. Okay, that's just strange, I love what you just said. Because I went to Rose's the other day and I couldn't think of anything to buy my husband. And the plaque that I bought was exactly what Sharon said. And about faith. Everybody has their ups and downs in life, even in marriage, families, work, everything. As we are in the month of December, I've had my share of problems with kids on the school bus. And I was terrified to call the school board and Department of Transportation. And I remember what it says, you ask not because you don't, or you have not because you ask not. And so I said, well, shall I put my faith in the school system, because the school system and school board bus transportation, they always let you down, and so do men. I'm not saying all men, but some men. So I put my faith in the Lord, and I said, Lord, I can't deal with the school. I can't deal with public transportation. I'm tired of fighting kids. Every morning they fight, they cuss, they're disrespectful. And it's so neat how it talks about Hebrews. Faith is a substance of things hoped for, evidence that do not see. Well, that is just so weird how that happened. To summons it up. I said, Lord, I'm going to put my faith in you. You're going to take care of this. And sure enough, I kept waiting for trouble. And the Lord fixed it. And for the last couple of nights, as school got ready to let out, things got quiet. The Lord does move.
Thank you very much. I want to, Dr. Mack, you're next, but let me share this. I got a message from our mother, who is taking care of her son who's in the hospital. I talked to her last night. She had texted me, and now I can't find it, but excuse me. She had texted me, and I asked her.
Just in the message, regular message.
Oh,
text
I'm
message.
sorry, it's in the wrong one. There we go. And I wanted to read to you, okay? And I won't say the name. Her son has had surgery 2 days. She had 2 days of surgery. On day 1 was 13 hours, and today, which was written yesterday, was 6 hours. He had cancer that came back after 10 years. Tumor has been removed and repairs made where the tumor was. Now only time will tell how recovery goes, but we know it will work out right, as God has certainly had a hand in all of this. Thank you very much. So when we had asked her originally, we had 3 requests. And now God has agreed for 3. Okay? And then she said, so Joe, excuse me, her son and his wife said, what do you mean his wife? It turned out that Friday, the chaplain at the hospital married them. They were engaged. Now they're married. So they have a blended family. He has 2 sons and she has 2 children. And they're all going to be together. And we're hoping that they will all be together by the end of this year, so Christmas. I don't know how much recovery is, but this has been an improvement in 3 weeks. And we've been praying, we've had prayer warriors praying for 3 weeks. But I wanted to share that with you. That is an answer to prayer, but God says yes, God says no, and God says wait. And in Gina's situation, God had an answer for you even before you knew that you were requesting. Isn't God great? He's better than Santa Claus, isn't he? Okay. But Dr. Michael, on your way here, I'd like to share something from the privilege of prayer. Don't worry about the time. I have also the lesson. So we can just blend in right there. This is from the privilege of prayer, from Steps to Christ by Ellen White. I'd like to read you some excerpts. Prayer is the opening of the heart to God as to a friend. Not that it is necessary in order to make known to God that we are, but in order to enable us to receive Him. God knows what we want, so it's our benefit. Prayer does not bring God down to us, but bring us up to Him. And then another one here is, another element of prevailing prayer is faith. Sharon, we talked about faith, and David mentioned that. He that cometh to God must believe that He is, and that He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him. That's found in Hebrews 11:6. Jesus said to His disciples, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Do we take Him at His word? Have you asked for something and starts with, I know you're not going to do this, but I want to ask anyway? You know what will happen? You're not going to get it. But if you say, I want this, I know you can do this, and it's good for both of us, and I know that it's good for me, you'll get it. So that's positive thinking. Okay. And another one is, keep your wants, your joys, your sorrows, your cares, and your fears before God. You cannot burden Him, and you cannot weary Him. He who numbers the hairs of your head is not indifferent to the wants of His children. The Lord is very pitiful and tender mercy. James 5:11. His heart of love is touched by our sorrows and even by our utterances of them. Take to Him everything that perplexes the mind, nothing too great for Him to bear, for He holds up worlds. He rules over all affairs of the universe. Nothing that in any way concerns our peace is too small for Him to notice.
Good morning, happy Sabbath. Good morning. My verse is a very familiar one. It's 2 Chronicles chapter 7, it's verse 14. And it goes thusly. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is a promise from God that's conditioned upon we, His people, doing certain things. If we will humble ourselves, number one, pray, number two, seek God's face, number three, and number four, the most difficult part, turn from our wicked ways. You know how difficult that is? I can tell you, and I won't tell you, because you don't need to hear it. But I can tell you that it's sometimes extremely difficult to turn from our wicked ways. Satan knows how to tempt each one of us. And he places things in front of us or people in front of us that are very tempting and sometimes difficult to break away from our evil ways. But if through the power of God we're able to do that, first as a church, because this was given to His church at that time, as well as to us as individuals, then He will forgive. He will hear from heaven. He will forgive our sin and he will heal our land. A beautiful promise, and one that we should take advantage of, particularly at this time of year. Thank you.
Thank you. I should have introduced him as not Dr. Mack, but Nino Mack. Godfather Mack. There. That. While she's coming, I'd like to share with you another excerpt from Steps to Christ. One of the verses, by the way, if you haven't heard it, Steps to Christ is my most favorite book of Ellen White. Okay, and one of the quotations that I remembered is, prayer is the key in the hand of faith that unlocks heaven's storehouse. And we know that his storehouse is full of that. And then another one here is, the relationship between God and each soul are as distinct, as full, as though there was not another soul upon the earth to share his watch care. I've heard it said more than once that if there was only one person on this earth worth dying for, God would have died. He didn't go with numbers. He goes with people. Okay. Watch again. Not another song again. Jesus said, "You shall ask in my name, and I say not unto you that I will pray to the Father for you. For the Father himself loveth you. I have chosen you, and whoever you shall ask Father in my name, he may give it to you." All right. So again, Jesus treats us like we are the only one.
Good morning, everyone, and a pleasant Sabbath and a happy Christmas. My text is taken from Ephesians 6:18. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. And the other one is, delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. And both of these texts are very dear to me, because I do delight myself in the Lord. He's my joy. He's my everything. And I always pray. Praying is one of my hobbies. I love to pray. And I pray for everyone. And so I find praying is a way of life for me. And so that is why I think I can delight myself in the Lord. And he shall give thee the desires of thy heart. And he has given me that repeated times over and over again. Thank you.
I have found early as a member of this church that there are people and members who are considered prayer warriors. We all pray, but there are some prayer warriors.
Here's my thing from here.
Oh, your bulletin, here it is. Hold on. But when we think of warriors, Elder Daphne is one of the prayer warriors. And you have to have her in your prayer circle. I feel like she has a direct link to God, but also she has lots of people who can pray for her. And then Lola Bellet.
We read in 1 John 1:9. If we confess our sin, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sin and to cleanse us from all righteousness. This text is all of us as a sinner, but we ask forgiveness to our Lord. Lord is will be the one to forgive our sins, all of us. So thank God that all of us will be faithful to him until when we reach the right hand of God to make us faithful until the end. Thank you.
Thank you. And Hermione, you're next. You want to come forward? And this is an answer to prayer, right? I should have called her Nina Hermione because she's one of our sponsors.
Good morning, church, and happy Sabbath. Okay, so my text is taken from 1 John 5:14-15. And this is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And the reason why I'm here today is because I asked, and he heard my prayer, and he answered me. And I'm thankful that I'm able to be with you all today.
Thank you. And we have friends from West Virginia. You want to come and share your verse? Both of you. And your lovely wife, too. Look at these.
Good morning. Glad to be visiting with you this Christmas Eve. My verse is, He spake to them a parable, and He spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint. And to me that means if you're used to praying every day, don't stop.
Thank you.
Continue praying once a day or however much you pray. You can't pray constantly. So it must be the what he was talking about.
Okay. It's a continuous prayer in our mind and in our life, and it's just one right after another, and being able to reach God. And the last one is Madel.
Well, one is Jeremiah 29:12. Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And my prayers, we're still waiting for the answered prayer on this verse. I'm applying for a license in West Virginia, and I'm still waiting that the Lord will answer my prayer. And then the answered prayer, this is my favorite verse, Booyah.
Okay.
Mark 11:24. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Actually, when I was praying for my husband-to-be, I beat Kuya Danny. These 2 weeks, I only have 1 week. I pray that the Lord will give me a husband, and I asked for a sign. I said, if someone called me February 14, that would be the guy. Well, my husband called me midnight, February 13. So I said to myself, I think God is answering my prayer already. And then in the middle of the week, I said, Lord, I'm not so sure. I'm still having a doubt, but I said, I'm not so sure if this is the real one, so I'm going to ask for another sign. By the end of this week, he'll propose. Friday night, we were talking, and all of a sudden he said, will you marry me? And I said, yes. So that's God's answer to my prayer.
No, let's get this straight. Danny said that it was 2 weeks. And how many days was yours?
5 days.
Oh, okay. And you know what, Madel, when you know God has that specific for you.
Yeah.
And we thought our 3 months was short. This is an answer to my prayer. And you know what? We weren't even looking, right? We talked, yeah, it's an answer to prayer. But you know, we can spend all the time talking about how God answers our prayers. You know what? Spend a few minutes every day in how God answers our prayers. And I would like to close. Well, I really don't want to close, but I have to close with another excerpt from here. I would like to end with what Jesus has said. I have chosen you, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. That's found in John God has chosen us, and what we have to do is ask. He has something specific for you, and like a good parent, we know what our children want. Sometimes, I am glad, Gina, that I did not get everything I wished for.
Why?
But I didn't, because I didn't want it. It wasn't good for me. As we don't ask, Atimaba, did you have a verse you wanted to share? I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Okay, come on over here, please. So, Medell, you're not the last one.
Okay, that's fine.
My Nina Melba is the last one.
Yeah.
My text is John 15:7. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, you shall ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you. This is really a conditional text. If you abide in him and his words also. It's just not believing in God, but we also have to study his words, because the Bible has so many promises. Many promises, God's promises for each one of us. And I have so many answered prayers. I can write a book of prayers if I can. And God has been so good to me. I prayed even way back. Some prayers I have took months or years even. And some prayers were answered immediately. Little prayers, big prayers. God is faithful in fulfilling his promises to us.
Thank you. Let's have a closing prayer too. Thank you. Can you close in prayer?
Let's pray. Father in heaven, we thank you so much for this beautiful day. Thank you that it is the Sabbath and we could all come here to worship you, study your words, and to be a witness and a testimony of how you answer our prayers. Because you promised that before we ask, you already have answered. You know what our needs are. And while we are still praying, you listen. Thank you, Father, for all your faithfulness to us. In your name I pray. Amen.
Thank you all. Let's take a minute or so as we transition into our Sabbath school lesson.